Hello and welcome back to my garden here in Northeast Oklahoma. I'm Chip Jones and I've been spending the day out in the garden. I went inside and got cleaned up just a little bit, but I wanted to finish up some of these last minute jobs and take you along for a little tour. We're moving into the middle of July. It has started to warm up finally here in Oklahoma. We've been doing pretty good since we've had so much rain, but it is starting to get a little warm. It's been in the mid 90s. Of course, the humidity's reaching pretty much 100% because of all the rain, but the garden, I can't complain, is absolutely loving it. As you'll just look around, there's so many things in bloom, and what I was having to do was actually trim up my hyacinth bean vine. This is a vine that's so popular for us out at the garden center, and mine actually all came back from little seeds that we just left in the ground over the winter. Of course, it likes a lot of warm soil before it really starts to take off. But if you just look right here, all of the vine coming up and it's taking off here at the arbor. It grows so fast, and before you know it, it's already intertwined within the roses. So I actually had to spend some time here tying it up, but before long, this arbor will be completely covered in a beautiful climbing vine with beautiful purple flowers. But until then, we get to enjoy more beautiful purple flowers by just looking at this buddleia, this butterfly bush. This is one of the more medium-sized growing bushes. I have several different varieties all around the garden. Of course, I still get so confused because I can't remember which are which, but they have been covered all day with butterflies, and just, again, such a great, easy plant to take care of here in the garden. What I want to do now is actually kind of give you a quick tour. We're going to walk through the pollinator garden. I'm going to do just a little bit of maintenance. We're going to end up in the front where I'm going to plant a few more plants. If you'll just come along with me, enjoy the tour, and I'm going to point out a few special plants along the way. I want you to first of all just look at this beautiful lantana. This is the passion fruit variety, and my goal is to kind of have a collar around this boxwood. It's already filling in really well and doing really well this year. One of the plants, let me show you that I planted this just today. This is a pumpkin pie coneflower that we put in today. This one grows 18 to 24 inches, and I really like the pinkish orange color. Of course, it's had a little stress. It's been in the cans for few too many weeks. I've had it over to the side, but I finally got it in, and I just love this lighter peachy color right here in this tome. But if you look on in the distance, I want to show you another little grouping that I think is looking really good right now. So just on over here, this great little grouping of daylilies. We have this beautiful agastache back here, and then also this garden phlox. This is Blue Paradise. It's a phlox that hasn't done that well for me through the years. I'll usually lose some, but I just love this bright, intense color. Of course, part of going through the garden, even after working all day, I still find the occasional weed. But I want you to just look at that vibrant purple color in there. I love having garden phlox in the garden, and I love the way it pairs with this beautiful orange marmalade agastache here. If you want to see another one looks great, look over here at this Proven Winners variety. This phlox over here is the luminary ultraviolet garden phlox. And just look at this beautiful magenta color. I don't know if you noticed, there was just a butterfly. Today while I was out here, it was just covered with beautiful butterflies. One of the great points about this particular variety, just look, there's no mold or mildew. That's one great thing about so many of these Proven Winners varieties. They've been bred to be very healthy plants, and this one certainly I have no problems with whatsoever. Nice and tall, nice strong stems, and absolutely no mold or mildew. Again, this is the luminary ultraviolet garden phlox from Proven Winners, and it has been a showstopper here in the garden. I did one other little patch of those pumpkin pie coneflowers right through here. I had a little bit of one of my white daisies that just was not doing very well. So I brought this little patch in here, and also I just recently trimmed our Boom Chocolata geraniums right back here. Those are starting to put out, and probably in another month or so, they'll start to put up those beautiful flower buds as well. But again, just going through and cleaning up the garden this time of year, sometimes things get just a little too rangy. Also cutting things back so that they rebloom for you is important. Another thing that's important, let me show you a tree that actually needs a little trimming as well. So this topiary form of a contorted filbert, it's actually putting out some branches from the original trunk where the upper part was grafted onto. So what I'm going to go in is just find down where these are coming out and trim these old original pieces out of this topiary. Of course, this topiary should be weeping. You can tell easily those did not belong there. I actually have a couple more down here at the lower part, as you can see. Just go in easily, trim those out, and then you'll see how it goes back to seeing all of the branches from the grafted part of the tree. Again, this is a form of contorted filbert, and it's a great accent plant to have here in the garden. All right, let's keep on going on down. I want to show you another little grouping that I just love the color combination. Of course, these aren't a great color contrast, but I just love this combination. Again, another beautiful purple butterfly bush here, and then we have this Mystic Spire Salvia. I love that blue and purple combination. Actually has a cool feel here in the pollinator garden. And again, two good plants. Actually, you don't have to do a lot of deadheading too. You know, I could go in with the buddleia and just cut off some of these dead branches. As you can see, more buds are coming up there. Hardly ever cut back the Mystic Spires because it just continues to bloom all the time. I just love the lushness that these plants give here in this time of the year. And oh my gosh, there comes the butterfly over here now. So again, a great plant to have in your pollinator garden. Come on around the corner, I have a special plant that I want to show you today that is really putting on a show. I have been waiting to show you these lilies. Just look at how beautiful and majestic they are. These are called tree lilies. It's a form of an oriental crossed with a trumpet lily. And a lot of times you'll see them called an OT lily in their description. Growing up almost 8 feet tall, as you can see, they're pretty tall. I'm 6 feet tall. And if I stretch that one up, it's getting there. It's growing quite quickly. Before you know it, these always take off. And this has kind of been a little bit of a hidden area. We have our AC units, which are just across the fence here. And this is around the pollinator garden. And it's an area that I forget about a lot because there's not very many plants over here. But this time of year, these come to life and they're just beautiful. This variety is called Beverly Dreams. Kind of looks like a stargazer lily in many ways. There's so many wonderful lilies out there. If you want to go in and look for those, you'll see yellow and white. There's even a beautiful purple color as well. So again, an OT lily or a tree lily, if you're interested in those, I think if you have a great space back against a fence or the back of the border, the only thing I do have a little trouble with is I do have to stake them, but certainly worth it. And just another plant that I want to mention while we're back here, it's not in full bloom just yet, but this is a Joe Pye weed. This is called Little Joe. Can you believe that? Little Joe. Little Joe actually can get up to about 6 feet. Regular Joe Pye weed can get up to 9 to 10 feet. So this is kind of that mid-range. There's actually a baby Joe as well. Another great pollinator plant, but one that takes up quite a bit of room. So you do need a little bit of space to let it spread and do its thing, so to speak. But again, just starting to put out those flower buds. They will be coming out in the next probably week or so. But once they do, again, another pollinator favorite as well. And I just love the natural feel to this plant. But before we go up to the front, there's another plant that I want to show you just in the back that's in full bloom, another area that we don't see very often. So let's head on back by the dog pen. Just look at these beauties. This is a phantom hydrangea. Phantom hydrangea has been in here in this garden probably about 5 years. We put them out here because actually just on the other side are 3 more of our little babies, 3 more of our dogs. This is actually the dog pen that's back here. They have a little dog condo that they get to live in. It's nice and shady, but just out front, we get to have these beautiful hydrangeas. It kind of creates a little bit of a mini hedge, a mini block, so to speak. One of the things I want to do in the future is I'm actually going to be adding a little bit more garden space here in the front, adding a few more plants. But look how beautiful these are just standing on their own. Again, it's a phantom hydrangea, so easy to take care of here in the garden. And that's the one thing when you get further away from the house, I like to think about those places as using some of those larger plants, some that we really can't use that close to the house. And this has been one that out at the garden center that we've had for several years that many customers had talked about. So I was glad to add it here in the garden. Again, a plant that's just so easy to take care of. So if you're interested in something that can grow quite large flowers, it is deciduous, so you are going to lose those leaves once we hit wintertime, but a wonderful plant to have here, kind of on the outskirts of the garden, so to speak. All right, I'm going to go by, get my wheelbarrow. I'm going to collect a few tools, and then we're going to go to the front and we're going to do a little planting. So come along. So I have to say, I've been so glad to have had a little help today. I had some extra hands that certainly helped in the back, but we didn't get a chance to do very much up front, but we really didn't need to. I want you to just look at how well everything up here is performing. The Supertunia Vista bubblegum have just been doing their thing. I've got to fertilize them. I haven't been doing as well as I said I would on fertilizing, but they're starting to really fill in this space, which I think they're going to probably in another month, take this place completely over. Of course, the planters here in the front are just doing wonderful. I guess because of the rain, we haven't had a lot of stress. The mandevilla are all in bloom. Even the drift roses, they haven't been pruned back up here by the front walk. They're still doing really well, putting out a lot of new blooms. But overall, it's been one of the best years. But one of the things I noticed recently is there wasn't really any pop of color, which can be good. A lot of times you don't want something just to jump out at you, but when we got in this new plant at the nursery, I fell in love with it. I saw how well it was performing and how bright it looked. So I had to get some and brought this home. This is the ColorBlaze Lime Time Coleus. Gets about 24 to 40 inches tall when it's fully mature. But I just love this bright lime green. And when I was looking at the front of the house, I thought I would like to have just a little bit more of a punch of a color. So I came out and stood and looked, and I decided I would actually kind of accent the Supertunia Vista bubblegum. I'm going to do a little bit of a lime, kind of a semicircle behind each side. I'm going to put these out, get them planted, but I want you to be sure and look at it before, see what it looked like, and then see how different it looks once I add this lime green color in there. So first of all, I'm gonna get them placed, then I'll get them planted, and then I'll stand back and let you see the difference. You know, a garden is always ever evolving. It's constantly changing, and what you have to do is be willing to change with it. You know, as things come and go into bloom, if you're fine with just not having any bloom at certain times, that's certainly fine. But what I like to do is look around as we go throughout the season and see maybe what it's missing. And that's certainly why I thought this lime green Coleus was just a great addition to add just a little punch of color. I think as it grows and fills out, and then certainly once the Supertunia grow and probably come up into the Coleus, I think it's going to make a wonderful, colorful display. And since I had them here at the front, and as we move across this side in front of the house, there are a lot more beds on this east side of the house. I decided to add one more clump of the Coleus over here as well. So we put them here again, right behind some Vista bubblegum, petunias, and we put them kind of also in front of these daylilies. These daylilies are just finishing up, so there's not going to be very much color in there. And certainly this lime green Coleus is going to add that great punch in behind the petunias as we go throughout the season. And again, this whole section is just one kaleidoscope of changing colors. One thing I definitely wanted to show you are the Zenyas. So come on over and just look at all of these in bloom. So this area has been a little bit of an experiment this year. Last year I had just a few zinnias that I had planted here in the background. This is actually at the corner as you go into our mudroom, right in front of the breakfast room window, which is a very large window here on the front of the house, which looks out onto the pond. And I just love having a mass of bright flowers right outside the breakfast room. I think these have turned out so well. They're getting a little tall, so I don't know how much longer I will leave them at this height. I may do a lot of deadheading and cutting them back down just to get the height down a little bit. But there's so many unique colors in here. And of course, having these zinnias right up in front of the window, we get to see the butterflies jump around all day long. And they just look so lush. As I've always said in many of my videos, I just love an English cottage style, and certainly these zinnias certainly add to that feel. Such an easy plant to take care of. Of course, they've loved the rain that we've had, but just look at this mass color, and so easy. I think this is something, if you're scared to garden, you're scared to go out and buy plants, one of the easiest things you can do is buy a packet of zinnia seeds and just throw them out. There's no covering them up with any other dirt. You just leave them right on top of the ground and just let them seed in themselves. Again, easy planting. If everything else seems hard to you, certainly get you a packet of zinnia seeds and see if you can fall in love with some zinnias. Well, I think this is probably a perfect place to end this video. It was just a great little walkthrough, give you a little bit of an update after we've spent a long day out in the garden just weeding and mulching and trimming things back. But again, there's so many beautiful plants in bloom this time of year. I certainly wanted to give you just a little peek of what's going on here at Okarga Farms. And remember, if you liked this video, be sure to subscribe, like, and follow me, the Preppy Gardener, and I'll be back with another video very soon.